Good morning once again. This is From the Heart, featuring me, the Juan, that's Juan, and only, here at the Area Career Center in Hammond, Indiana, with our multimedia students here, being the crew. And we are very grateful for the students here, and congratulations again to the multimedia students here at the Area Career Center for being the Skills USA 2019 champs. Congratulations, and congratulations to Stephanie. To my very left, I have a very, very special guest by the name of Pepe Vargas. And Pepe is the founder and executive director of the International Latino Cultural Center of Chicago, which sponsors the yearly Latino Film Festival. So we're going to talk during the first part of our program about the organization and about Pepe. And then on the second part of our program, we are going to be talking about the Latino Film Festival. So welcome, Pepe Vargas.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, one and only one.
The one and only, yes.
Or the
and
one.
The one, you know, like the one, instead of O-N-E, it's J-U-A-N, the one and only. And you know what, one of my coworkers, for the longest, every time she talks to me, she goes, the one and only, or sometimes she calls me the one in a million. And I said, I'm going to take the one and only, and I've used it here as part of my credits for.
That's really good.
Yes, yes. So I'm very grateful to Miss Missy for utilizing that to me when she addresses me. And Missy's a very beautiful lady, as well as all my other coworkers and my boss, my judge here. So on that note, like I said, what we're going to talk about during the first part of our program has to do with the organization that you founded and are the executive director. But before we even do that, tell us a little bit about yourself that has nothing to do with the Cultural Center. What would you like to tell us about yourself, maybe as it relates to the film industry or whatever you would like to share with our audience? And this is a tape show, though.
Driving is something that I don't like.
Okay. And you did come from Chicago today,
Yeah,
right? So do you live in downtown Chicago, first of all, or do you live in
a little further north,
okay.
by the lake.
Okay.
And what I like at Venus is the great diversity.
Mm-hmm.
There are restaurants from everywhere, people from everywhere, languages from everywhere. So it's a very diverse area. And that's what I like about Chicago. And I live in a city that is sort of very integrated. Driving is fun, but I like to drive in the mountains.
Okay.
I grew up in Colombia, so
did you?
in Colombia is plenty of that mountain, so driving up and forward, you pass through a desert, rainy areas, go way up, and you pass by near the snow.
Okay.
Then you go down quickly in a half an hour, and you are at 90 degrees.
Okay.
And so that is fascinating. And that is the kind of driving that I like to do.
Very good.
By driving expressways.
Yeah, you know, when I go to Chicago, I take the South Shore and then I take public transportation.
I thought about that, but I'm getting here.
Very good. And I'm very grateful that you're here today. I know you keep a very busy schedule with all that you do. So did you mention that you attended Columbia University? Is that correct?
Yeah, I went to Columbia. I studied broadcast journalism. So when I'm here, this comes to memory. It was in the 80s.
Okay, 1980s.
And that was sort of my second career. And I like directing. And at the time, my English was really poor. But I succeeded because it was a lot of hands-on, doing camera work and editing and directing shows. And I like news also. So sending reporters, and it was a good program. I mean, when I see students doing this kind of work, it sends me back to the 80s when I was in school. I think I learned a lot, and at some point, after 4 years of TV, I had a roommate. He was into film. He was very well-read and watching films like crazy. So I kind of started falling into that, and the last year at Columbia, I kind of switched to film and making films, but naturally TV helped me a lot. I made a couple of documentaries, spent a lot of time, and I like editing, so they came out to be really good. But then I switched to film, and making films is a very difficult proposition. It's not an easy thing, especially for the independent films. So the film festival came about, and here
So
I am.
before you get into the film festival, like I said, I want to talk about, first of all, the organization itself. So what you're telling us, you're well-rounded, the technical side as well as side in front of the camera and everything else, pretty much. That's great. So you are the founder and the executive director of the International Latino Cultural Center of Chicago. Talk to us a little bit. What is the center all about?
This is the only organization in the country,
Okay.
and I'm very proud of that, that really addresses the pan-Latino concept. We are interested in promoting the culture of not one country, but more than 20 countries that
Sure.
forms the Latino family. And we are a family of many nations, many races, many languages, and geographically sort of the Central and South America, but also the connection that we have with the Ibero Peninsula, Spain and Portugal. And Portugal came and sort of conquered a great part of South America, and so that makes us sort of related.
Let me ask you
And
this.
same thing with Spain.
When did this organization begin?
We began with the Latino Film Festival in '85.
Okay.
Formally, we created that in September 15 of 1987. And so it became this pan-Latino concept. Again, interested in promoting the culture of all of our countries, and in any manifestation. We do music, dance, theater, poetry readings, you name it, and anything that has to do with culture. Also, we highlight the culinary arts. We have wine tastings. We do that kind of thing because we want people to know us by what we do. And so we do a lot. We had Nobel Prize in literature, in medicine. We got great architects and mathematicians and physicians, and we have a lot of people also working in the fields. And so that is where we celebrate the difference that exists among ourselves. Rather than that sort of divide us, we look at how can we celebrate how different we are, and in the difference that exists, how we can promote the richness of our culture. That's what we have to offer, this great diversity. And anyway you look at the diversity in the food, and the music, the films, and the dance. And so it's so diverse geographically, the countryside diverse, yet we sort of belong to this family that unite us by language, religion, some of the customs. And we sort of relate to ourselves, people who in general speak Spanish. Most people are Catholic because that is what Spain and Portugal brought to us, the Catholic religion.
Yes.
And but aside from that, there are languages other than Spanish or Portuguese that are spoken in our countries. In Chile, the Mapuche language is still alive. In Mexico, Guatemala, and Colombia, everywhere. In Haiti, they still speak their own native language, a lot of language that were brought by the slaves from Africa. So all of those we celebrate. They are Jewish throughout the continent, and there are also Muslims and Korean people, Chinese, there's everywhere. Cuban Chinese and Dominican Republic Chinese and Argentinian Chinese.
Absolutely. Let me ask you this. So this organization goes back to the 1980s. So, and you've been a part of this organization going back to the 1980s, since, like I said, you're the founder?
I founded the organization.
Okay.
And the reason being is because when I arrived to Chicago, I worked in a restaurant. There were 14 Mexicans and me. And so I learned firsthand what discrimination is. I really learned that by not suffering, but perceiving that too. And in a way, I was armed with education to sort of protect myself, defend myself. And I was able to succeed, and I wasn't a victim of the treatment that we received, but I saw what it was. And then I had the opportunity, I was writing for the Spanish paper La Raza.
Yes.
And because of that, at some point, the Chicago Sun-Times needed somebody to write a feature article about a very prominent doctor in Chicago. So I was called to do that. And I have a fantastic dinner at his house in Evanston. Okay. And went there, met the doctor and family and talked. And then out of that, the photographer came along. And out of that, I wrote a really good profile because I'm good at that. I know how to write.
So you have a very, very powerful background, so to speak. I do want to ask you some more questions about the organization. And you know what, I just recently, like I said, we had a conversation at your office already, became a member of the International Latino Cultural Center of Chicago. So what are some of the things that anyone who joins this organization, what are some of the benefits of being a member of this International Latino Cultural Center of Chicago organization?
Probably two. One, it helps us to be able to carry out all of these programs that we do throughout the year. The other is that we offer a lot of fun, a lot of great learning opportunities by people getting together, mingle, networking, and get really to know us and meet other people, Latinos and non-Latinos, because a good 35% of the sort of 80,000 people that we serve with our programs are non-Latinos. And a lot of Latinos who do not speak Spanish because they grew up, they were deprived of that luxury, they reach out to us. And the events that we had, they're really fun. We have one that is called Real Film Club, something that we've been doing that for the last 10 years.
Which you know, I do have here, I think, which is starting up, I think, on Friday, May the 31st. Is that correct?
That is the one coming
Tell us a little bit about that.
It's a fun event, and like I say, it's 30 years. I mean, 10 years doing that. It's a reception, networking reception. We have wine, food from the country that we are showing the film. In this case, a Colombian film, so we get a Colombian restaurant to cater this. Then we have some Coronas, wine, and people have fun. They don't get drunk in an hour because that is not a part of our mission. Sometimes we have tequila, but it's limited. We don't do shots. The shots are the problem. And so people have fun for 1 hour, 6 to 7. Then we show the film. And after the film, there is a film critic that entertains a conversation with the audience for about half an hour. That we've been doing that for, by now, 10 years, and it's every last Tuesday of the month. This month, we do that at Instituto Cervantes, organization that promotes the Spanish culture from Spain. But it was busy Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so Friday. And we don't want to miss the opportunity or really do this the last Tuesday of the month. This time is Friday. But it's a fun event, and we try that to be at least members get a discount. So $5 off. And
sure. As far as the organization itself, are there times too when the organization looks for volunteers for some of the events that are coming up? Are there internships too that the organization provides?
Yes, we are open that. I mean, we couldn't do that without volunteers.
Right.
We have a very small operation.
And your organization is a non-for-profit organization, is that correct?
It's a non-for-profit 501c3.
Okay.
We have more than 100 volunteers. And interns are welcome to apply and have a great time with us.
That's very good then. So, like I said, you have this powerful organization that's been around for actually going back to the 1980s. So based upon what you've told me, and I've had some initial conversations with you already before today's show, so it sounds like then by you being involved in the founder, going back, quite a few years already, you've had an opportunity to network yourself. And so does that mean you know a lot of producers, directors, actors, and so forth in the industry that have to do with Latino film?
More than 3,000 probably.
Okay. And that's a wealth of major connections, I guess if you could say that. Like I said, we do have nuestra comunidad in Northwest Indiana, and so, like I said, the whole thing is about networking and connecting and everything else and making a connection here, not only for what we do here on From the Heart, but also for connections for our multimedia department here and for Stephanie here, because this is all about the students here. It's all about teaching the students TV and radio. So this is a two-part program. We are getting near the first part of our program here with Pepe Vargas, who is the founder and executive director of the International Latino Cultural Center of Chicago. And I've had an opportunity to meet you at your office already. The second part of our program, we're going to be talking about the actual Latino Film Festival that I missed after becoming a member. I missed, but I'll try about make it to this film event on May the 31st here. So I'm looking forward to that there. And so this is all about not just doing the programs here on From the Heart about film and TV and other related material, but also making connections here for the Career Center itself and Stephanie here to continue to network and so forth. So if we have someone coming up to, at some point, to say we're at the end of our first part, then let's go ahead and do so. We'll continue to talk. So he is, once again, the founder and executive director of the International Latino Cultural Center of Chicago. And when it comes to the city of Chicago, there is a lot of diversity, not just Latinos, everybody else on there. So on that note, I'm trying to see here, we're done? Okay. So stay tuned for the second part of From the Heart.
Suicide is the 10th leading cause of death in the U.S. Each year, 44,965 Americans die by suicide. When you take your own life, you're also taking the lives of others. Your friends.
Hello?
Your family. Those who have seen you grow up through the years.
Real?
If you're struggling with depression or have thoughts of suicide, it's never too late to get help.
Welcome back to From the Heart, featuring the Juan, that's Juan, and only. To my very left, we are having a powerful conversation with a very powerful man in the Chicago industry as it relates to film, Mr. Pepe Vargas, who is the founder and CEO of the International Latino Cultural Center of Chicago. So the second part of the program, we're going to be talking about the Chicago Latino Film Festival, and you just had your 35th Chicago Latino Film Festival in Chicago, which I missed, but you did give me one of your magazines here. If we could take a close-up of the magazine, so that everyone that attended, I guess, one of the films, did they get one of these books? Or how did the public get any of these books? So how did that work?
We sort of distribute that over the 2 weekends.
Okay.
Because it's extremely costly. It costs on $20,000 to print 5,000 of those. But then we have another booklet that we used to print 1 million copies of that. Insert in Tribune, the Sun-Times, the Chicago Reader. But that was before the internet. Now internet came about, so a lot of those things are put on the web. But still, we print 300,000 copies of those. And those are distributed about 2 weeks before the festival. So people see it, they had the entire menu of the festival. They start making their choices and go. And the festival, I mean, is still around because people attend. It began with some 500 people back in 1985. Now the number is way above 35,000 people who attend the festival.
So, for the sake of public information and so forth, how would you describe what is the Chicago Film Festival? What is that actually?
I mean, it's a jewel, no question about that. Has made a big difference in Chicago. By now, we have brought some more than 3,000 film directors, actors who come and accompany the films. Recently, we had one in Purdue University. He came to Indiana to show a Spanish director. Last year, I was a Colombian director. We bring them to accompany the films and have a Q&A with the audience. The media, they are primarily married to Hollywood, very faithful marriage. They don't care about foreign films. But we do a heavy marketing campaign to make sure that people know the festival is here. And that's the way we have been able to grow the attendance from 500 at the beginning to more than 35,000 people. We have films from every one of our countries, primarily from Haiti, Cuba, Argentina, Chile, Spain, Portugal, Dominican Republic, Mexico, pretty much every one of our countries. And that is the beauty of this, because within 2 weeks, we can celebrate the culture of pretty much every one of our countries.
Let me ask you this, because I wasn't able to attend the film festival. And like I said, I just became a recent member of the Cultural Center. When you have these films at the Chicago Film Festival that come from a lot of Latin American countries and so forth, are these films, in terms of the language, are they in their own Spanish language or dialect or whatever the case may be?
They are, and that is something that we treasure, showing people, giving them the real thing. They are not dubbed in English. There's some films that are in their native language.
So do they have to
Subtitles.
caption it, or what do we call it, in English?
Subtitles.
Because
English subtitles.
Okay.
See, the Portuguese films are in Portuguese, I mean the Brazilian and Portuguese in Portuguese language. And they have subtitles. We have a film from Paraguay that they are in Guarani.
Can I ask you a question too, if I may? We're Mexican. No, you're Colombian, I'm Mexican. Okay, so let me say this here, Mexican American. Let's say the Spanish that a Mexican American would speak. Is there a country that speaks Spanish, I guess, but as a Mexican American who speaks Spanish, let's say in my case, I would not understand a word that they were saying. Would that be Portuguese? Or was there a country where they speak some form of Spanish, but a Mexican would never understand what they're saying?
No, they would.
They would? Okay.
There's no such a
Some
thing.
words, but maybe not everything.
This is one language with so many different varieties.
Okay.
Sometimes it's hard to understand the Chileans. Not to me, because I live there.
Okay.
But people will have, the Spanish will have problems in Spain understand the Chileans.
Okay.
And sometimes they put subtitles to that. It's not an offensive thing. It used to be worse because Garcia Marquez, when he wrote one of his first books, he went to Spain and found a translation of the book from Colombian Spanish to Spanish of Spain. And so he got mad about that and refused. And so they put that out of circulation. My books need to be read in the Spanish that I wrote. And so they became, and so the Spanish made the effort, and then he became a mega big writer and famous, so there was no more translation of that. But it was offensive. But also when I write to Chicago, though I had lived in Buenos Aires and I had watched a lot of Spanish films, that was really hard for me to understand their Spanish. So to answer your question, you would probably have a hard time, but you will understand. We really don't need interpreters other than with the Brazilian films. I watch a lot of Brazilian films. I don't read the subtitles, but because I have watched on more than 1,000 Brazilian films. But people will need the subtitles for the Brazilian and Portuguese films. Otherwise, no, you will understand a Cuban film. They speak too fast and eat half of the words, but you will be able to understand. understand the Peruvian or the Ecuadorian. If they are on this year we have a film from Ecuador in Quechua. It's their language, and so that has to be with subtitles.
I know there's something here I think that maybe you didn't mention, that when you join the International Latino Cultural Center of Chicago, when it comes to maybe going to see one of the films that are part of the Chicago Latino Film Festival, is there a discount or not if you are a member to go see any of these films as opposed to being a non-member?
It is a big discount. It's a $3 discount. Rather than $13, people pay $10. Also for the opening night and closing galas, it's $10 discount. For the Real Film Club also is a discount, and members pay $15, regulars they pay $20. It's a lot of discounts. They get invited to a lot of parties that we have that are exclusive for members, sponsors, the media. So.
And at these galas, are some of the actors or directors or producers at some of these galas?
Yeah, they do.
That people can mingle with?
Yeah. We try to avoid the bringing stars.
Okay.
Because we want the stars to be the films.
Okay.
The films are the ones that really need to shine, because that is the substance of the matter. That's what we are dealing with, sharing the films. And the film has everything. And if we can bring the director, we tried our best for that to happen, so the director can engage in a conversation with the audience. That is very educational. And people are used to that, and they do come. And these parties are fun, excited. We have music, live music, and drinks, food, and people dance and watch the film, mingle with the film directors and actors, and we tried our best to keep that at a price that is affordable for everyone. It's $60, and members pay only $50.
Let me ask you this. What do you see as the future for the organization and the Chicago Latino Film Festival? What would you like to see down the road for the organization and for the film festival?
I mean, we have a dream, and our dream has become a project of building in Chicago our own Kennedy Center, our own Lincoln Center of Art Institute, but Latino. Why? Because we are the third largest population of the city. And also because what we have to offer has no limit. And people embrace that. It will be a Latino, is what the Mexicans say, mi casa es tu casa. That will be our house, but it will be open to everyone. It will be the Latino sort of mecca of the culture, the cathedral of the culture, but its doors will be open to absolutely everyone. And that is what we experience. I mean, everyone goes to the Latino restaurants. Everyone drinks Corona, tequila, Chilean wines, Argentinian wines, Spanish, best coffees in the world, the Colombian, Costa Rica, and Guatemala.
It's not only important learning about your own culture, it's also important to learn about other people's culture. And if that would be the case, we'd have a lot more positive things going on in this country as opposed to negative things if we just get to know each other and our culture. Is that correct?
That is why I created the organization, to fight back against discrimination.
Okay.
Not violently, but bringing to the attention to people that we are not what you think we are. We are this, and then we show that through our music, the dance, the culinary arts, the spirits, and sharing really the soul of who Latinos are, to engage other people and get to know us. And once they do, discrimination it vanishes. It really disappears, and people start treating each other with equally and with respect.
This is the Area Career Center in Hammond, Indiana. We're doing a program from the heart in the TV studio here at the Career Center. They also have a radio station here that is mainly used for teaching purposes of the multimedia students that go through the program, led by Stephanie here, who's the director here. What advice would you have for the multimedia students here that want to get into the business of film, TV, so forth, or radio?
Just think they
What
can.
advice would you give them?
I think just to think and really be sure that they can succeed. And just be disciplined, keep their dreams, and they wanted to be directing a TV show, writing a TV show, making a film.
You know what, we're getting near
Just
the
do
end,
that.
so unfortunately. Address, Facebook, any contact information you want to give out about the organization real quickly, because we're pretty much at the end of our show. What information would you like to give out in terms of contact you or the organization?
LatinoCulturalCenter.org. The website, everything is there, LatinoCulturalCenter.org.
And on that note, congratulations again to the multimedia students for winning the 2019 Skills USA, to Stephanie and to Pepe Vargas. Thank you very much for being a guest on From the Heart, featuring the Juan, that's Juan, and only. And on that note, God bless you all.